All right, hi everyone. My name is Aaron Dyck. Really excited to be here with Kevin Meyer, Director of Research and Insights. Sounds like a really fancy title. What is the Director of Research and Insights at ES99 Impact?
So I manage a team made up of SEO specialists, consumer research specialists, market research specialists, also media specialists. Specifically, like we're really heavy in like digital media right now, but we also have capabilities for more traditional forms of media, and then also marketing automation. And so I manage this group of individuals. Their job, to put it as simply as I can, is to build for us and our clients the most accurate possible understanding of reality, so that we can make better decisions and increase the likelihood of better outcomes.
And so you're the perfect person to be talking about this then, because the number one question I get from small and medium-sized businesses across the country, United States, Canada, is how do I use marketing to generate more sales leads? How do I get lead gen on a marketing? Really, because if I'm going to invest my money in marketing, I want to grow my business, or I want to expand my business, or I want to cross-sell, right? So what kind of tactics are you seeing in your business as it relates to lead generation?
Lead gen, first, let's say, like, what is lead gen, right? Like, what do we mean when we say that? Because I feel like it's getting close to becoming a buzzword in the industry. So when we look at lead gen, we look at things we can actually measure. And if you're talking about the two most prominent things that are funneling leads into businesses, it would typically be still people calling on the phone or people filling out forms on a website.
Okay.
And we can drive phone calls through a website as well, or an ad, and we can also drive those form fills, obviously. So to change lead gen into what we actually measure, it would be how many new contacts did we capture, how many consumers do we now have, name, phone number, email, professional title, that kind of thing that we didn't have before. That's a lead. And we would be looking not just at do we have a name and a phone number, but have we actually captured all of the information that we need in order to follow up with this person in a meaningful way. So I think, we're looking primarily at email, form fills and phone calls.
Right.
And how many are you getting? How frequently are you getting them? And then how qualified are the leads that you're capturing? We can actually measure those things on a properly tagged website.
So a lot goes into lead generation versus just saying, hey, I put out a blog or I did a social post, I need more leads.
Correct.
Right? And so one of the things that pops up all the time in our conversations is like paid media, and organic content, kind of playing paid media being the fast game, organic content being the slow game as far as how you reach out to your audience to get more form fills. And more folks that I'm talking to today want to get into or expand paid media. So do you think paid media is the way to go, like the number one way to go? Question number one. Question number two is, if I have a boatload of cash and I just start investing in paid media, am I going to get the best return on my dollar?
The honest answer is it depends.
Okay.
It depends on the client's situation. There may be some instances where we would favor organic over paid. We would favor the slow burn over the fast hot burn, right?
So it depends on audience, industry.
Depends on consumer, client situation, industry. A big question that we're always asking is, how do consumers in your industry actually shop? Right? Let's say I ask a client that question and they say, well, they look in printed catalogs and they flip through stacks of business cards they have. I would never say, why are you on the internet? But I would say we need to look at like meeting the shopper where they are, right? And we might be tracking purely phone calls in that instance, but we can still track that. So a big issue also, you talk about lead gen, a lot of our clients aren't actually set up when they first come to us to measure lead gen.
So there's a foundational organization that needs to happen first.
Yeah, and that comes down to like site tagging and making sure, simple explanation of site tagging would be, you have a website, but through Google Analytics, we can't actually track specific actions that a user took. So we can't say, we can't differentiate between like they were on the page versus they filled out the form and submitted it.
Right.
And so we have to, or like they saw the phone number and they clicked on it, therefore calling.
Right.
So we have to tag the site so that we actually get that information. Now I'm going to need you to give me that second question.
Okay, so the second question is paid media. If I invest a boatload of cash into paid media, is that going to give me the biggest ROI? Like, is it a money game? What else goes into it? Like, how does paid media work?
Yes, it's a money game, but also in the same, so like the stock market is a money game too,
Sure.
right? You can just blindly throw money at securities on the market, and sometimes you might win and sometimes you might lose. And one would say that the more money you have to throw around, the more money you can make. But conversely, the more money you have to throw around, the more money you can lose. And so in the stock market, you can either buy and trade and sell speculatively, or you can view it as more of an investment activity where you research, you understand the underlying value of a security before you invest in it, right? And you see yourself as investing in a business as opposed to like buying a stock.
Right.
So paid media is the same exact way. You can have a lot of money, but if you're not doing the underlying research to understand consumers and their digital shopping behavior, the words and terms that they're actually using, it's going to be a highly speculative activity where the more money you're spending, the more money you stand to just burn on paid media. And that's why here at ES99, we work really hard to understand consumers, understand their digital consumer behavior, their real world consumer behavior as well.
Right.
And then
what do you mean by real world?
So like the example I gave, right? Let's say no one's full shopper experience, no matter what industry they're in, is online.
Right.
They're going to talk to coworkers, they're going to talk to friends, they're going to talk to peers. Even when they are, online, they're going to be thinking about those things offline as well. So it's about understanding the combination of what's going on in the digital world, where we're kind of always shopping because it's how the system was built to operate, and so it's how we've been trained to use the internet. But understanding what they're doing in both of those worlds, the digital and the physical world, and then working really hard to make sure that whatever paid, keeping in mind, like, paid media is not just digital. Paid media is billboards, it's radio spots, it's TV ads, it's anything that you pay to put in front of someone and intercept them in their life. So this is a thing that with most of our clients, I think digital we go to first because the majority of the population is on the internet now.
Yep.
Not everyone listens to public radio anymore. Not everyone has the free version of Spotify anymore, right? Where they still get ads. So it's harder to calculate reach when you look at traditional forms of media now. Whereas with digital, it's like, oh, well, who are we going to reach? Everyone on the internet, right?
Okay, so if I'm a small business, and I'm watching this video, what's the takeaway for me? What's the one thing I got to think about when I'm looking for lead generation through marketing?
Number one thing you need to think about is your consumer.
How do they buy?
Where are they? What do they want? Where are they? What are they doing? When are they there? How long are they there? What are they doing when they're there? What are they afraid of? What are they concerned about? And then you get down into the details of what specific words are they using and how often are they using that word and what other words are they using in conjunction with that word. And that's how you go from like speculating, throwing money at something, not really knowing what's going to happen, to investing your financial resources in.
I think that's a great way to put it. You're investing back in, you're understanding what's going on with your marketplace and making thoughtful decisions in order to achieve your goal through lead generation.
Yep.
It's not easy.
No.
It takes a lot of thought.
Yes.
Right? And it takes something that you have to very well understand what's happening in your marketplace, your audience, your industry, and your consumers.
Yep.
I think we could talk about this for hours.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think it's such a compelling conversation to figure out how best to do it for whatever industry you're looking at.
Yep.
Maybe that's a follow-up video, but thanks a lot for coming in. I learned a lot from you and understanding kind of how it works, like how you relate it to the stock market. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. I'll talk about this until the cows come home. So
awesome. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Yeah.